Good morning, guys. It's your legal bestie, Attorney Symone, and we are here today with live updates of the Diddy trial. So trial started about an hour ago, but I have a life and needed sleep. So there was that. But let's hop into it. Let's do the update. So let me make this a little bit bigger. Let's make this adjustment here. You're going to put me over to the side because you don't need to see my big face. Let me do this one. I usually use. Here we go. All right, so earlier this morning, they just kind of outlined the ground rules. And today is cross-examination of Cassie. Oh, gosh. Hold on one second. I need to plug back in. Shit. Okay. Yeah, so it's cross-examination of Cassie today. And let me go back up on the screen. So basically the first thing they just outlined is that the lawyers went back and forth and they were arguing for about an hour about what the rules were going to be, because there was letters that were filed back and forth until about 3 a.m. yesterday, and they were over different minor aspects and facets of the law. That court observers, it says that court observers untrained in legal precedents wouldn't know or care about. Basically, it's procedural stuff. And then it said during a nearly 1 hour long discussion Thursday morning, about evidence that can be introduced on cross-examination, the judge noted that with one of his rulings, 99.9% of evidence is not being impaired. Basically, whatever they thought they could submit as evidence should be fine. The Combs family is back in court. So the mom and the kids are going to be here. Now, if you watched one of my lives previously, I was talking about how I thought it was really disgusting that he wanted his daughters to hear all that. Yeah, I know they can Google and I know that they're grown, but it's completely different when your dad is encouraging and subjecting you to hear stories about him pissing in the mouth of his girlfriend and a variety of those things. So I still think it's disgusting that the girls are there, but he's their daddy, whatever. It says that Cassie has returned to the witness stand. She came to court today in a black suit that looks almost like a tuxedo top with a light colored blouse underneath. And it starts out, okay, so it starts out, Cassie is questioned about her feelings towards Combs. It says Esteval, which is obviously one of the people on the defense side, begins questioning Cassie in cross-examination by asking about their relationship. Cassie responded yes to a series of different questions. Now, here's the thing about cross. Generally, you want to ask yes or no questions, and you only ask questions that you already know the answer to, because you are walking the witness into a corner. You're painting them into a particular narrative. And it says, you and Sean were in love for 11 years. You loved him and believed that he loved you as well. She said, yes. Your love of Combs explained why it hurts so badly when he lied. She said, yes. When he cheated on you, she said, yes. Then Diddy's lawyer began questioning Cassie in a gentle tone. That's what I was looking for. Like with Cassie, they're going to be really gentle with her because she's pregnant. And if they are too hard with Cassie as far as how they question her, it's going to turn the jury off. And even if they're right, they'll be wrong. So they're going to be, so there is a way in which you can cross-examine a witness in a tone that is gentle, but it's kind of like gentle parenting. It's like it's gentle, but it still gets the point across. It says it's notable because so many cross examinations can begin with efforts to unsettle and agitate a witness, but this approach is the opposite. It says the first exhibits. It says the first exhibits that are introduced by the defense attorney are messages exchanged between Combs and Cassie in the early years of their relationship. In one message, Combs writes, "I'm truly a lucky man." Cassie writes back, "I'm a very lucky woman. Love you so much." Aw. Oh, I remember those times when you're in one of those relationships with a crazy person. Here we go. Yeah, when you're in one of those with a crazy person and all you can do. What in the world? Where are my... Hold on, guys. Something's weird about this screen. I can't see the comments. The heck? Let me keep going. What in the world? Hey, let me do this. I'm going to refresh really quickly. Okay, guys, sorry about that. So I'm back. I had to refresh. For some reason, I could not see you guys' comments. Let me reshare that. Let's see. Let's get this back up. There you go. Here are the live updates. All right. So they're all lovey-dovey at this point, starting with these. "I'm truly a lucky woman. I'm truly a lucky man." Actually, Cassie, you're not even that lucky, because don't forget, there was the case that was just filed yesterday by a woman who accused Diddy of SA and claimed that his little private part looked like a Tootsie Roll. Like a Tootsie Roll. So how lucky can you be if you're out here dealing with a Tootsie Roll? Anyhow, let's see. Okay, back to the facts. It says prosecutors are objecting frequently to exhibits introduced by Estavo. The judge is rejecting many of the objections, appearing to be giving the defense some breathing room in the early stages of its exam. Okay. All right, 5 minutes ago, it says, "I love you so much, it makes me cry." Estavo is confronting Cassie with loving emails and text messages that she and the mogul exchanged early on. In one 2008 email, Cassie told Combs she was a lucky woman. "I love you so much," she wrote after Combs thanked her for flying to Atlanta to be with him. In August of 2009, in a message sent when Combs went by the moniker Puppy, the rapper told her, okay, same thing. "I love you so much, it makes me cry." Cassie says, "You hungry, Pop Pop?" She testified that Pop Pop was a nickname she used for Combs, while he sometimes called her baby girl. He said no, to which Cassie told him to let her know if he changed his mind. In April 2010, Cassie told Combs, "Going to sleep now so it can be tomorrow faster and you can be home. Love you. Love you." And he wrote back, "Love you, my baby." Oh, how normal. How normal. And then it says 3 minutes ago, Combs appears relaxed as cross-examination gets underway. And then there's some oh gosh, about Blackberries. What an era. In a flashback to another era, testimony about the early relationship between Combs and Cassie has contained frequent references to the Blackberry devices that they used to communicate with one another. Before Apple founder Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone in 2007. Oh my God. That's wild. Before the iPhone in 2007, the BlackBerry was so popular and addictive, it was nicknamed the Crackberry. The Canadian company that marketed was valued at $85 million around the time Combs and Cassie began dating. Child, times have changed. Times have changed. Here we go. Let's go back to it. All right, that makes me think about the BlackBerry. So we're waiting for more updates, y'all. Thinking about the BlackBerry, y'all, I have to tell y'all this stupid story. Sidebar, y'all know how I do with my sidebars. So with the BlackBerry, hold on one second. Let me just make sure I got it all. There you go. So with the BlackBerry, so I had the BlackBerry in my first job, which was as a lawyer, a little baby lawyer in New York. They gave us BlackBerries. And one of our clients was the New York Giants. And one of the big players on the Giants thought he had called himself having a little crush on me. And so he would message me on the BlackBerry all the time. Back then you did BlackBerry Messenger, BBM or whatever they called it. And it was basically like AOL Instant Messenger, but just through the BlackBerry. And the BlackBerry was my work phone. My regular phone was something else. So on the BlackBerry, this player, this big time player for the Giants, he one day decided, he kept trying to like get me to date him. And I kept him at arm's length as friends because he was ugly and he had big ears. And so one day, trying to seduce me, he sends me an unsolicited D video, not a pic, an entire video of him stroking that thing. And I'm at work at my desk and we're BBMing and he sends it and I click the video and I'm like, oh, what's this? And it's his wiener. It's his wiener. And I said, oh my God. Oh my God. And back then I had just gotten the job. It was like 2008. The economy had crashed, or maybe it was 09. I don't know. The economy had crashed. So jobs were rare. And I was making like $150,000 a year. I was like, I'm not about to ruin this. First of all, I don't know anything. And there's no reason for these people to be paying me this money. But they hadn't figured that out, right? So I'm going to do whatever I can to keep this job. And this boy sends me his little, it wasn't no Tootsie Roll. Oh no, that was a yam. That was a yam. It was there was something going on there, an eggplant, a yam. And he sends it to me, and I was like, "Oh my God! If this is on there, and my boss is going to think that I solicited this, that I wanted it or something." So I was at my desk and I was freaking out. So I was like, "What am I going to do?" So at the time, my office was in Newark, New Jersey. So immediately I got up and I ran out of the office. I ran to Broad Street in Newark. If you've ever been to Broad Street in Newark, there's a Popeye's Chicken. I ran to the Popeye's Chicken. And then I took the phone into the bathroom in the Popeye's Chicken and I ran water on it. Because I was like, if there's water damage, they'll never see it. I ran water on it. And then I just banging it on the edge of the sink. And this homeless lady that came to the bathroom, she started looking at me and she was like, girl, you okay? And I was like, no, ma'am, I'm not. So then I started banging it some more. And then I ran outside and I threw it in the sewer. And I went back to my desk and I called tech support and I told them I accidentally lost my cell phone. Because that way, if they found the phone or if they in any way were able to tap into the phone and detect that he had sent me this little nasty porn video, I could say, it wasn't me. Somebody must have found it in the sewer. A homeless person must have got there's a Popeyes in Newark, on Broad Street in Newark. I was like, yeah, somebody else must have did that. I don't know, but it wasn't me. All right. So for those asking, I could not risk, and y'all, in 2008, 2009, if you had a job at 25 years old, making $150,000, literally, that was more than my parents made combined at the time. And those are hardworking people. I was not. When those people told me they were giving me a job making $150,000 with my panties on, I said, praise God. What do you need me to do? What do you need me to do? Speaking of that, no. After you're saying I could have just deleted it. I didn't trust it. No. If I delete it, what if it's in the cloud? What if there's a hack or something out there? I didn't trust it. I couldn't do it. So what we're talking about, y'all, is just there was a BlackBerry exchange between Diddy and Cassie, and that made me think about my own BlackBerry exchange. When brand player, their biggest player, and they were the client for my firm, and I was in their intellectual property department. So I didn't want the firm thinking I'm over here, trying to mess with clients, trying to do it to the client. Ugh. No. All right. So you haven't missed too much if you're joining us just now. Cassie is on the stand with cross-examination. They've established that she is being crossed by Estavio. I actually thought she was going to get crossed by Nicole Westmoreland, who's the Black female assault survivor on Diddy's side, but no, it's Estavio. And I'm going to share. We're going to switch to this this view. We're going to go over I went over what it was stating by the Inner City Press. Now I'm going to make this larger. Here we are. There you go. And so now, okay, I'm going to read some of these for y'all. All right, so it starts off, Estavio says, please read this, 1364. Ventura says, I haven't talked to you at all. You don't even try. You rushed me off the phone. I'm really hurt. I don't need your money. I need some attention. Estavio says, you wanted your special time with Mr. Combs. She said, yes. Combs' lawyer says, so what did you write? You hungry, Pop Pop? And Mr. Combs wrote you? Were you so in love? We are so in love, and we don't do anything else. How long had you been seeing each other? She said, like 2.5 years at this point. 2.5 years at this point. He writes, we are so in love. We don't do anything else. Okay, interesting. That was an hour ago. Hold on. Here you go. Oh, also, okay, before the cross-examination started, her lawyer with Wigdor, that's who got her the $20 million settlement. Yesterday, she established on the stand that she received $20 million from Diddy. She also talked about that she had to go to rehab. Oh, we're going to hash this part out. So yesterday, she established that she had to go to rehab as a result of just the PTSD, the trauma, all of this stuff. And that, here we go. 1 second. In doing so, while she was there, she began journaling. And as she began journaling, that was when she started basically writing a book. And she said she made the book because she wanted him to read it so that he could see exactly what he did, exactly how what he did impacted her. And she said, yeah, her goal was just to have him read it. Here we go. Put this back. What the hell? Where is my stuff? There we go. Here we go. Her goal was just to have him read it. And ultimately that resulted in it ultimately resulted in this settlement. But I want to show you this clip because these people have been pissing me off. All right. Remember this, y'all.
Remember a dark place for a few years, you know what I'm saying? And I have to give a special thank you, shout out, thank you, all that love. I got to give a special thank you to the people that was really like there for me. Bishop T.D. Jakes, my chief of staff, Christina Coram, KK, Lorianne Gibson, keeping me free.
Watch this. Hold on.
Yeah, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love. And once again, I got to thank Harlem, Boogie Down, Bronx, Queens, Mount Vernon, all of New York.
Here's the thing. So on site says rewind to Diddy's BET Award speech, mentioning Cassie with services amid his trial. Many say it triggered her lawsuit. I'm here to tell you, no, it did not. No, that is not what happened. And there are many stupid people who will say something different, and I don't care because they're stupid. This took place June of 2023. Cassie went to rehab early 2023. Early 23 is January, February, March. May is not early 2023. June is not early 2023. June is halfway through the year. June is 6 months in, right? Halfway through the year. So what I'm saying is, I believe, so when she went to rehab, wrote the book, that is when her lawyers began contacting Diddy and negotiating with Diddy from early 2023. This was him gaslighting her. This was him signaling to her, because throughout the trial testimony that we've heard to date, he would do these things where he would make her feel guilty for making him hit on her. So, for example, yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, when Cassie was testifying, when Cassie was testifying about the incident at the hotel, she specifically mentioned that afterwards he sent her a text message saying, "I'm getting locked up. I'm getting arrested. The police are here, blah, blah, blah." Hit that like button as you come in. And he's like, "I'm getting arrested. I'm getting locked up," because he wanted her to respond to him because she was ignoring his calls. So I'm telling you, I believe that this was him signaling to her because she's over here contacting his lawyers. He thinks, oh, if I just make her think I love her. Oh, if I just make her think we good. If I make her think that we're good, then she'll be fine. She'll go away. Like this 30 million she talking about, girl, bye. Also notice he thanks Lorianne Gibson out of nowhere. Lorianne hates his butt. Lorianne will be testifying against him. I wouldn't be surprised if Lorianne at the time was also negotiating something with his behind. It is analytical one. It is a classic gaslighting. So you'll see my comment here. I said, no, that was not then. It was gaslighting. So some idiots, hold on, we're going to post the idiot. Because see, if you want to be an idiot, I'm going to let you thrive as an idiot. Let me see. Here we go. We got an idiot here. DT, whatever his name is. Bro, what? Just because you have attorney in front of your name doesn't make you right. Okay. All I asked, was it a year before? So tag the right person. No, that's not. Somebody said it was before. Time Essence said it was before the lawsuit, but she's right. Cassie was writing a book and told him to pay her, and she's releasing it. He played in her face in this stage. There were more comments. I don't know. Let me see. Oh no, yeah, this guy was like, this was before that. You were loud and wrong. I'm like, because here's the thing. I just want to clarify. Oh shoot, what the hell did I just do? Okay, sorry, I thought I messed that up. Here's the thing, what people don't understand. They settled within 24 hours in November. To get a 24-hour settlement takes more than 24 hours, y'all. Y'all get this. Y'all are smart. It takes more than 24 hours. The only reason you're able to get that quick kind of settlement is because your lawyers and his lawyers know the facts. How would they know the facts? Because they've been talking about this, going back and forth, discussing it for months. For months. So it wouldn't be unusual that she would have started the negotiations when she was in rehab, when she wrote the book, etc. And then by the time the lawsuit was filed, he was like, oh gosh, all right, let's go this route. And let's go this route and we're going to settle it. We're going to get it resolved. Now, also note, the money was paid by Diddy's businesses and Diddy is what she said. I mentioned this before. It came through the insurance money. So she would never know that like insurance adjusters, were working in the backdrop. Clients have never spoken to an insurance adjuster in their life. Their lawyers speak to his lawyers. His lawyers speak to their insurance adjusters. But either way, she got her money, which was great. April had a question. Hold on. Good point, Afra. Afra is saying it kind of sounds like it could be witness intimidation, like threatening him. So if he shot out Cassie like that, do we think he has something on TD? No, I'm not. I'm not saying that this is like a lineup of everyone. He also shot out Harlem, right? I don't think he has anything about that. TD probably really is his pastor. And TD liked them celebrities. So that probably truly is his pastor. And it correlates because he says, I've been going through some really dark times. Thank you to TD Jakes. He probably truly is thanking TD Jakes. But I do believe, this is annoying me, but I do believe that this was some type of a signal to Cassie. Because he was so used to being able to give her slivers of attention and slivers of pieces, and then that would pacify her enough so that she wouldn't go to the police anymore or that she wouldn't tell people about what was going on. And what was crazy is throughout all of this, she's still living through the fear that at any day now, at any time, if she pisses him off, he could release these tapes because he still got them. She was also owed for the 10 record deal that he lied about. That's true. You can't not release someone's music like that. So that's clear. She had a very clear sexual harassment lawsuit for this component alone. The fact that she was signed to a 10 record deal, but that because they were dating, he effectively prevented her from releasing the albums, getting out of the contract, or making money under the contract. Yep, TD does have mess going on now. There are lots of rumors about TD being at Diddy parties. So yeah, he's got something on. Yes, he stopped preaching. He's supposed to be ill or something along those lines. All right, so let's see what other updates. So let me go back over. All right. So some people had asked questions about kind of what happened before trial started. Let me make sure this one is up and that you can see it. Here we go. All right, so we've got here. It says, before the cross-examination started, Cassie's lawyer from Wigdor, her civil lawyer, says, I have a right to be part of the meet and confer about which evidence she can be questioned about. She is the only victim witness that has standing under Rule 412. The judge says, we have to move forward. Like, let's keep going. The judge says, any other issues? And the AUSA, the prosecutor says, as we noted in our email to the court early this morning, it was a 2 a.m. email, y'all. I know this judge is sick of them. The judicial documents were not being put in the public record. The judge says, we might get a sign from Miss Estavio, who will cross Cassie, that this is not an issue, the things she had written about. It says the defense last night dumped 400 exhibits on us. I'm going to explain this. This cannot continue throughout the course of the trial. Judge says, Mr. Estavio? Well, we've been working tirelessly in response to Ms. Ventura's testimony. Mr. Agnifilo, I thought you were going to take his off my plate. I think it's this. I thought you were going to take this off my plate. I'll keep trying. This is the main witness. She stands by herself. That said, we have been doing this all night until 3 in the morning. We flagged exhibits for them, meaning for the prosecutor. The prosecutor says, there are 24 exhibits that the government has objections to. They are listed in the chart. Just the ones in the chart? Again, the documents are not going into the public docket, so we can't see them now. So, and I'm curious, I'll find out later if not going into the public docket may simply mean they're not going to be on Pacer, which is the online system that's used to see, like to pull down letters and things like that from the case. But after trial, certain documents may be available to the press and so forth. So Combs' lawyer says, others called him Diddy or Puff Daddy, but you called him Sean, right? She said, yes. You knew a version of him the rest of the world couldn't see, right? Objection overruled. In ways, she says. You kept coming back to him for 11 years. I wouldn't say coming back. You believed he loved you too. I did believe he loved me too. So when he cheated on you, it hurt. She said, not every time. That's interesting. And then they bring up a defense exhibit. Y'all, if these people don't leave me alone. All right, they bring up a defense exhibit. What you're going to say, They bring up the defense exhibit and the prosecutor objects and says, not in evidence. The judge says, that's true. This is not in evidence. Estavo, Miss Ventura, read it just to yourself. Why did you send this message? She said, to let him know I was going to dinner. What was going on when these messages were sent? I'm not sure. What was going on in your relationship then? It was early. We were loving. I offer it. Objection being offered for truth. Overruled. The objection is trying to be a hearsay objection, but because the witness herself is there on the stand, that witness is able to explain aspects of it. So there are hearsay objections that would permit it. Then she says, please read. I love you, smiley face. I'll fly anywhere for you. I love you, Cass. This is a 2009 email. Objection, hearsay. Estavo, ask more questions. From my BlackBerry, was it BG? What from BlackBerry? What is BG? She says, baby girl. That's so gross. What did you write? You hungry, Pop Pop? And Mr. Combs wrote, we're so in love, we don't know anything else. How long had you been seeing each other? Like 2.5 years, she says. All right, and then we went through these other ones where she's talking about, I haven't seen you in a while and I'm super hurt. Oh, and then we go here. Here we go. You testified that you told him, I love you so much. You make me a better woman. I definitely wrote those messages. You wrote, I can't wait until we have a baby of our own. You knew that he had 6 children at the time. Yes. So now these messages are about freak offs. Hold on. I'm so confused as to how she didn't get pregnant. The only thing I'm thinking of is he must have demanded that she keep an IUD up in that thing at all times. Okay, it must have been IUD central up in that thing because because otherwise she would have gotten pregnant, as he didn't like her to use condoms with these people. So it seems like it absolutely, like a kid would have been totally out of the question. Hit that like button, guys. We've got almost over 1,000 in the chat. Oh, okay. Someone's saying she had gotten rid of some of them. Yeah, she wanted a baby from him. I mean, and what's interesting is I would have thought he would have had sense enough to get it snipped by now, but clearly not, because he's got the baby with that Asian girl. But I think with his ego, there's no way he'd get a snip. Some men that have super ego, it's part of their masculinity, especially when you're walking around with the Tootsie Roll in between your legs. All right. So then he goes on to say, so now these messages are about freak offs. When you say, it doesn't matter to me, you mean weekend or weekday, either is fine? Ventura says that's what it says. Estavio, Mr. Combs says, maybe we can call Jules. Can you do it? Yes. This was an explicit message from you about an anticipated upcoming freak off. Objection. The judge says, we'll take a recess. Probably because they're trying to figure out some stuff and deciding what's going to be allowed and what won't be allowed. This is a good time. I'm going to stop and I'm going to explain what's going on with all these gosh darn exhibits overnight. Here's the thing. These exhibits that were overnight. So yesterday there was a discussion where the prosecutors were basically complaining, stating that, hey, listen, there were deadlines when the defense was supposed to submit to us their exhibits, and it appears they haven't done so. But what it seems like here is that these documents were documents that the prosecutors gave to the defense. They had them for about 8 months, but more recently gave to the defense. And my position is, if these documents were already in the prosecutor's possession, then it's not a blindside for the defendants to say, hey, we're going to use these. Why? Because you should have already read everything in your possession. In fact, you had 8 months to do so. I've had like a month, a singular month for the defense. So while they're not sure, the prosecutors may not have been sure which of all of the exhibits they're going to use, I can understand the defense's perspective, because they don't know what they're going to use either until after Cassie has given her direct testimony. You got to hear the direct testimony to know exactly what you want to attack on cross-examination. So while it does seem super annoying to receive 300 exhibits overnight, to the extent that, these were all documents that the prosecution already had in their possession, then awesome. That they already had in their possession, then I hope that explains that it's not that it's an unethical thing for them to do or anything like that. Yeah, he was definitely love bombing. How did they get the old text messages? Well, Cassie gave her devices to the prosecutors. And so in criminal trials that I've done before, like my client was accused of stealing someone's phone or something like that, they actually at the police departments or the detective offices, they have this machine, they plug it up to the machine, and it literally downloads everything. It's got timestamps, it's got all of them. In Shannon Sharp's case against the OnlyFans girl, his attorney who was releasing text messages, you can tell that they used a machine such as that. They probably used a private investigator to do that or something with Shannon's machine, because it's got the way that you'll see the timestamps. It'll show you exactly when it was read, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, if they were kept on an old device, fine. Let me see what you said. Fine, but if they retrieved from carrier records that far back, it would be wild. Yeah, no, there's no way. But I guess anything is possible. That would be crazy. But now you guys see why she got that money. See, I knew Cassie walked into that lawyer's office with some astounding levels of proof, because you can't make, as a reputable attorney, you can't make allegations like the ones in that complaint without having the type of proof that she in fact has. Cheryl is saying, while it's undisputed that Cassie was a victim, she also bore a degree of complicity by actively facilitating some of this. Well, I also think that, responsibility for the actions which she was involved. An 11-year relationship produces a boatload of text messages and emails of what. That's true. And emails are there's so much that can be obtained from there. Hold on. Let's see if we got anything else. That judge is so sick of them. All right, so we still got that. Let's see what the Associated Press, if we got any updates here. 6 seconds ago, we got one. Let me see. 6 seconds. Okay, wait. Let's see, 25. I don't know. All right. Then you got the defense has Cassie reading out loud from the warm, nice emails and messages she exchanged with the hip hop star early on, portraying them to jurors as a loving, caring couple, is a counterpoint to 2 days of testimony about forced and violence. Combs was charismatic with a larger-than-life personality. She testified, I had fallen in love with him and cared about him very much. Yeah. But another message she read points to fractures in their relationship, which, according to her earlier testimony, devolved into violence and Combs' increasing obsession with seeing her have intimacy with strangers during the rug-fueled S parties. In an April email, she expressed disappointment that Combs would rush her off the phone and wasn't spending time with her. She read the email in court. It said, that's not being in a relationship with someone that you love and are in love with. I am really hurt by the way you deal with me. I don't need your money. I need some attention. Yeah, he knew what he was doing, getting him a 19-year-old. Because a grown woman like, boy, what up? And now the questioning turns to the FOs. 1 second. All right, it says, now it turns to the FOs. The events Combs staged dominated much of the testimony from Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, defense is asking about the subject and displaying text messages to the jury in an effort to show Cassie's enthusiasm for them. Y'all, this is important because the FOs are a component of how the state intends to prove coercion. Jesus, hold on a second. I'm pulling it up. Coercion, force, intimidation. And I'm going to break that down legally. And I want to hear from you guys as to whether you think there's been evidence presented on that. And so specifically it says, Estavo is asking about the subject, playing text messages to show her enthusiasm for them. The lawyer is reading Combs's part of the email and text messages and having Cassie recite what she wrote to him at the time. When do you want to freak off? LOL. Combs asked in August. She says, I'm always ready to FO. 2 days later, Cassie sent an explicit message to him. I can't wait to watch you. I want you to get real hot, Diddy told her. She said, me too. I just want it to be uncontrollable. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Cassie asked for a short break. The judges agreed, allowing her to leave the witness stand after more explicit messages were put on display. The jury also has been given a break. So here's the thing. Yesterday, the lawyers and the defense were in a huge disagreement regarding how breaks should be handled with the lawyers. So Diddy's lawyers were concerned. Here, let me put this back up. Diddy's lawyers wanted the judge to order that while she was being direct or cross-examined, that in those breaks, she could not confer with her lawyers or the prosecution. And the judge, which I'd ask for the same thing. And here's why. Because you don't want those lawyers prepping their witness about what she's saying and how she's testifying. You don't want them telling her things like, all right, slow down, answer the questions. Don't forget to mention such and such. No. Once that person has been sworn in, you may not direct their testimony. Now, the lawyers, though, are trying to say, well, we have to be able to talk to them because we got to be able to talk. We got to coordinate things like transportation or what time they're leaving the courthouse. Girl, bye. We ain't talking about that. And you know it. You know that what they're talking about is breaks like the one right now where she may feel flustered. You shouldn't be able to go over there and say, oh, you're doing a good job, but make sure that you reference this or slow down more or don't answer questions that aren't being asked. No. It says Brick City was an FO attendant. That's why his panties are in a bunch. But she definitely needs a break. But so that was the confusion. Now, ultimately, the judge decided that they can talk to Cassie, they can talk to the witnesses, but they cannot they cannot speak about the testimony. So if they want to say things like, it's okay, do you need water? Like something like that is fine. I don't know if you can even say you're doing a good job, but anything to like calm them, because each of the attorneys, like Gloria Allred is there, they're all saying like, hey, this is really difficult for our clients. We need the ability to, we need the ability to be able to comfort them basically. And on the breaks, because we don't want them to leave. We don't want them to quit, because then they're really going to have a problem. Or they don't want them to fall apart on the stand. You definitely don't want that either. Okay. There we go. Here we go. Let me read some of these questions. Her doing what Ryan Leslie previously did to Puff did not prepare her to deal with that type of person on that type of level as Ryan Leslie was. Ryan Leslie, from my understanding, is a sweetheart. So she went from dealing with a total gentleman to a demon. Yeah, the preference is preferencing, because ain't no way a Black woman his age was doing. Oh, yeah. Kim wasn't doing none of that. Kim was not. Kim said you got to get somebody else to do that. But 3 or 4 days? No. Cassie not being a woman of Nubian descent. Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. She's very pregnant. She needs a lot of breaks. And I argue that as her attorney, I would need to comfort her more and in a different way and more consistently, because imagine the hormones. Bless her heart. It's got to be hormonal, understandably. No, and no. Yeah, they're trying to make it as though she was. All right, so let's go into what they have to prove while we're waiting for some more updates. Let me see if it's up on the screen. Hold on. I'm going to put it on the screen like I am back teaching my law school classes. So I love this because so many people are like, where's the Rico? I don't see Rico nowhere over here. Where is Rico at? Hold on. Wait, hold on. Okay, here we go. We're going to share this one instead. Can I make this go away? Okay, good. Let's see, make sure you can see me. Oh, I'm going to make this bigger. I want you to see this. So this is what they got going on. Why is it not showing? Oh, hold on. Okay. So first off, what do they have to show to prove racketeering? To prove racketeering, the government has to show the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. Number one, an agreement to violate RICO, that the defendant, that Diddy knowingly agreed to participate in a racketeering enterprise. We're going to define all this. The prosecution does not have to prove that Diddy personally committed any racketeering acts, only that he agreed that someone would. Yesterday, there was the example of Diddy beating Cassie, of him hurting her. Then she gets out of the car and runs down the street, and he sends his security and says, go get her. And they did. They went and they got her and they brought her back. That is an example of an activity basically where she was fleeing and members of his enterprise assisted him in the activity of bringing her back. Now, whether they were bringing her back and it was considered as trafficking or prostitution or what have you, that's a different story. But the way he was able to get the workers to do that is an example of a racketeering action, as well as having Cassie, KK, or anyone else pay the hookers. Paying hookers who are hooking in multiple states, which we know has taken place here, is transportation for prostitution, which is unlawful. We'll get to that. All right. Secondly, you have to have the existence of an enterprise. They have to show there was an enterprise that existed separately from the individual members. This can be a legal entity like a business or an informal group. It could be like a gang or with a common purpose, structure, and continuity. Diddy and his employees is sufficient to satisfy an enterprise. And Diddy's businesses are sufficient. Yeah. And then a pattern of racketeering activity, okay, and that the enterprise was engaged in or its activities affected interstate or foreign commerce, and there was a pattern. Let's see. There it is. Which means at least 2 predicate crimes. They only need to show 2 crimes in 10 years. Those in 10 years. So that could be like, here it could be, here it could be the prostitution. It could be the coercion. It could be arson. It could be kidnapping. Only needs 2. We already got the prostitution. Is there anyone in the chat who feels like maybe they have not yet shown evidence of prostitution? I feel like that's the one, the prostitution for interstate commerce. I feel like that's the one offense he's not getting off on. I can be confident because we've had S workers get up there and be like, yeah, it was in this city, in this city, in this city. All you need is 2 cities for it to be interstate commerce. I'm sorry, 2 states for it to be interstate commerce. So here we go. Come back to it. And then the pattern, and then there's knowledge and intent. So basically, there's no doubt that his entity will be considered a RICO enterprise. The question becomes, have we seen evidence of 2 activities yet that could be considered? Now, here's the thing. Now, here's the thing. The S trafficking, I am curious. I was curious about that one, so I just wanted to double check. Here's the thing. We're not dealing with the minor. All the state has to show, the prosecutor has to show, it's not the state, the prosecutor. The government has to show that Diddy knowingly recruited, enticed, harbored, transported. We know transported because he flew people, provided, obtained, maintained, or solicited a person. Now, here's the thing, that the defendant used force, threats of force, fraud, or coercion. Coercion includes psychological coercion or abuse of legal process. In other words, if the jury believes beyond a reasonable doubt that he told Cassie, if you don't do what I want, I'm going to release these FO videos of you, that's coercion for S trafficking. And that the defendant knew or intended that the person would engage in a commercial S act. A commercial S act is simply an act in exchange of anything of value. And the value could be rugs, could be money. Here, that's why discussion of the rugs for YouTube, we're using that word, is so important. Because if Diddy is saying you need to do this and then I'll give you rugs, or I'll give you shelter, or I'll continue paying your bills, or I'll release your albums, or I won't release your albums. But for the coercion, so I actually think that the physical DV related stuff is there in evidence to support the force, the threats of force, and coercion. The coercion is more specifically also how he keeps threatening to release them FO videos. And if, look, them videos must really be something if they had to block off the courtroom and put up slats and screens because they don't want the audience to see. That's really something. So, and as an example, R. Kelly was the best example. R. Kelly was the Eastern District of New York. So not this one, this is the Southern District. With R. Kelly, it says he was convicted of S trafficking and racketeering based on decades of grooming and abusing grown women and minors. It says the prosecutors then proved that he used a network of associates to recruit the girls, often at concerts or schools, and then transport them across state lines for S. What the government proved in R. Kelly's case, so we're going to compare. In R. Kelly, they showed that he knowingly recruited and transported young women and girls, that he knew they were under 18. So that's a huge difference. That the victims were offered money, fame, or mentorship, which is considered a commercial act. Anytime you offer someone a value. Remember with with R. Kelly, he'd act like he was going to help these women release music. With Cassie, Diddy is saying, if you don't do what I say, I won't release your music. So that's part of the commercial act. And then coercion is threats, isolation, starvation, and physical A. So what the defense is trying to frame as, oh, this is just DV, under the S trafficking law, that is considered part of the physical abuse that supports finding coercion, and that his inner staff, and with R. Kelly, that his inner circle and staff facilitated the pattern. He was also convicted under the Mann Act, but that's not applicable here. All right, key takeaways: that when you recruit and then you exploit and you either pay people or coerce people, it's trafficking. Also, recruit, exploit, and pay people. Here, we don't have an age issue. Everyone that's going to be discussed in this case is going to be an adult. But remember, here the charges are as trafficking, racketeering, transportation to engage in prostitutas, forced labor, kidnapping, and obstruction of justice. I want to hear some of this obstruction of justice evidence. That's what I'm ready for. Let's move it on along. Moving along. Let's see what else we got here. Moving along. All right, they're back. Let's share. All right, we're back with Inner City Press. Let's see what we got here. All right, guys, they are back. It says 10:48. The judge says, Miss Estavio, you may proceed. Miss Ventura, this is from Mr. Combs to you. You respond with an extremely explicit message, right? Yes. This is 2 days after the planning of an FO, right? Yes. He said, I want to see you. How do you reply? I can't wait either. I feel like I want to F again, right? Is what you said? That's what it says. Mr. Combs says, I'm so horny, I can't concentrate. What do you say? That I'll go to Dwayne Reed for candles and then set up the room. Do you understand that he was going to take another video? Did you understand that he was going to take another video of you? Objection, speculation, judge. Mrs. Savio, you can move on. You ask, any pills on you? Yes. What pills were you taking then? Opiates. You deleted videos on your devices, right? Yes. What did you write? That I need to feel this is my husband, the only one who will see this side of me. Ooh, I need to feel that this is my husband, the only one who will see this side of me. She says, were you afraid that Mr. Combs was only seeing you for sex in this way? She said that was a concern. You still were not public in your relationship with him? Correct. Were FOs important? Integral to us? She says, hold on. Wait a minute, little girl. Oh, little girl. Ugh. Child. This man isn't even letting you be public with him, and you're letting him use it in your mouth? Jesus Christ. Her parents must be so devastated. Her parents must be so devastated that they did not prepare this girl for the world. There is no other definition of it. She was not prepared for the world. She spent all that time modeling and being cute, because I used to see her in those little magazines growing up. Delia, she was a model for Delia's, one of those little things I used to get them in the mail at my mom and daddy's house and stuff. You cannot put no weak child in the entertainment industry like that without proper supervision. And yes, she was weak. She was naive. She was a naive 19-year-old. Because what you're not about to do is do those things to me, and then I don't even get to tell people you're my boyfriend. We got to be secret. You sound crazy. You sound crazy. Integral, she said. The FOs were integral. Who was at your 21st birthday in Vegas? Britney Spears, Dallas, Austin. How did you get them there? They came for Sean. You're very beautiful and charming. Hold on. Diddy's lawyer says to Cassie, you're very beautiful and charming. Where is my gavel? I'm in somebody's house. I want to say, bitch, quit playing with me. Quit playing in my face. And Cassie says, you're very beautiful and charming. Cassie says, thank you. She says, it's true. What the hell does that got to do with anything? I see what she's trying to do. That defense attorney is trying to imply you're so charming that how do we know we can believe you? And you're beautiful, so people are probably just going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Like, don't even try it. Like, that doesn't even fit. Like, have you ever like dated a guy and maybe you guys were arguing or something, and he says, I've dated a guy and like we've been arguing or something, and he says, well, you're a really pretty girl. So what? I know that. What that got to do? Like, that doesn't justify whatever else we were talking about. It doesn't justify it. She was like a fish in an ocean of sharks. Oh yeah, she was. She was a baby girl. A 37-year-old man. Yeah, I just think her parents had no idea what she was getting into. And they didn't know what she was getting into. It's not like they knew anything about the industry. And they were in Connecticut, which isn't far. But it was like, okay, I grew up in the entertainment industry. So I know that it's a very hard decision for parents, because it's like you don't want your kid to feel like you prevented them from exploring or reaching their dream. So if her dream was to be a model or an actress, They don't want to feel like, oh, we didn't let her go to New York, or we didn't let her try these things that would have given her the opportunity to reach her dream goals. But at the same time, you want to make sure you're not throwing your kid out to the wolves, because he is the epitome of the type of wolf. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm saying, yeah, I know it's an attorney. All right. Yeah, manipulation tactic. Why would the attorney? Yeah, like, I just feel like it's in this, at this point, to tell her you're very pretty and charming is condescending. You're being condescending. Okay, what does that have to do with anything right now? I'm over here telling you the story, and I'm going through this, and we're talking about my birthday. One of the birthdays, I don't know which birthday this was, but there was definitely different birthdays where he beat on her and made her do an FO and a variety of those things. No, it's disgusting. The amount of power and abuse that he had is crazy. And well, now that we're hearing about more and more about how, I was going to say, about how he made, like when I heard the story yesterday about how he was hurting her in the car. I'm picking my words carefully for YouTube. He was hurting her in the car, and she gets out, takes off running, and then he has his staff go chase her down. It becomes more clear why she didn't feel like she could get away. But you also, I was thinking about it, to get away from someone like that, it would take a multifaceted approach. I'm talking, she's going to have to get information. She's going to have to get stuff that she could blackmail him with. She would need to I would need to call my mom and be like, okay, mom, what do we need to do? I need to get some information from him. Then we need to call the FBI. We need to get an FBI investigator. But again, she was so deep into the rugs, that she couldn't possibly process enough to have done that on her own. Like, there's just no way. All right, let's see. Let's go back to these messages. All right. She says, you're very beautiful and charming. Thank you. It's true. Who is Tommy Mottola? Now, y'all remember, Tommy Mottola is Mariah Carey's ex-husband, who was extremely, extremely controlling. He got with Mariah when Mariah was 19, and he was married to somebody else. And then he left his wife, was with Mariah. Poor Mariah probably thought she was getting a win, even though he was old and fat. Big old fat thing, you know. He didn't fat fish her like I got fat fish, because he was always fat. But and then Mariah got with him, and that marriage didn't last long, because he was real bad with Mariah. But she asked, who's Tommy Mottola? A well-known producer. You were an up-and-coming star. I guess you could say that. After you signed with Bad Boy, things were still platonic? Yes. All right. See, someone wrote, the lawyer's being weird AF. Right. How are you? You're very beautiful and charming. Okay, well, it's true, but this is so obvious, trying to get points with the jury, you little weirdo. I'm gonna pull up a picture of Tony Mottola. And now, in Tony Mottola, he think he's slick. He's so gross. Because after Mariah, he went and got a Mexican version of Mariah. Well, she's not Mexican. Her name is Thalia. And she didn't have, her career was nothing. I don't know. Maybe they like her in Mexico, but we don't. It's old fat fuck. Here we go. I want you to see this old fat boy. And make it bigger. Get bigger. All right, this was him and Mariah back in the day. He looks grisly. That's quite the nose. But yeah, that's Tommy. Now he's married to a woman named Thalia. Let's see if I can find that picture with Thalia. Thalia had like one song, and then we never heard from her again, which probably makes sense, because if he's the controlling type like Diddy, how Diddy never wanted Cassie to come up with any other albums and just sit at home and be his girlfriend. Yeah, that would be consistent. Hold on, I got too many of these open. Give me a second. Come on. Close on out. All right, let's go back to this one. All right, so we're waiting for more tweets to load. It is about to piss me off. Okay, hold on, it's trying to do too much. But I want to hear, what do you guys think so far regarding the prostituta, that charge? Do you feel like you've seen or heard sufficient evidence to feel comfortable so far? We're only in week 1. This is day 4. But to feel comfortable saying, okay, yeah, I think there was, and specifically it just needs to be transportation for interstate prostitutas. I don't even know if that's a word. This thing is really, hold on, y'all. It's like going super slow. Lordy, hold on. Okay. All right, there we go. Lord have mercy. Hold on a second. Go ahead. This computer is like overloading. Hold on. It needs to slow down. I'm going to read you the rest of the tweets. Hold on. We're tired of looking at Tommy Mottola. I cannot get this man off my screen. This is driving me nuts. Driving me nuts. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can switch. What is going on? Stop sharing this picture. It won't even let me like switch. There you go. It wasn't letting me switch screens. Okay. Get off my screen, Tommy. Is he dead? Jesus, go away. Jesus. What the hell? Okay. Come on. All right. Sorry, guys. The devil did that. That was the devil. I guess I had too many of the tabs that were open. So let's go back to get this refresher of all right. So they were going over Tommy Mottola, and she says, you know, he's a well-known producer, and you were an up-and-coming star. She said, I guess you could say that. After you signed with Bad Boy, things were still platonic? Cassie says, yes. You had a rough performance. She says, 106 in Park. It did not go well for me. Aw. Y'all, that reminds me of like, remember when Sweetie had a really bad performance and everyone thought it was just because she's untalented? It felt like she just wasn't talented. And it was kind of like with Cassie. She whispers really sexy, like Janet Jackson. But nobody thought she was going to be like good, but bless her heart. Yeah, that 106 was pretty bad. Said it didn't go well for me. She said, how did he help you after that? We did a YouTube video. He said, everybody makes mistakes. What was wrong? I couldn't hear myself. That makes sense. You were dating Mr. Leslie. How much older than you was he? 10 years. Oh, I see what they're doing there. They're trying to establish that she has a thing for older men. Got it? I didn't realize he was that much older. By the way, Ryan Leslie went to Harvard. Not that anyone cares, but 10 years. Then you traveled to Miami with Mr. Combs. The flyer of the event was just a cover to spend time with Mr. Combs, right? That's true. Hold on. The way it was written in the civil complaint was as though Diddy created the flyer and that he used it to trick her into coming to Miami, not that she was aware the whole time of the ruse. This is interesting. It says, you had a tattoo of Mr. Leslie's initials on your body, right? Yes. How many tattoos did you have then? Objection, relevance, overruled, but let's keep it moving. 3, the one on your arm, no regrets. I'm sorry, y'all. This little girl's getting dumber. All right. Combs taught you how to do, ooh. It says Combs taught you how to do oral. He did. Look at this. Tell me when you're ready. Can you read it? Ventura says, you can read it. It's making me laugh. It's from 2007. You wrote, I feel protected. You are sweet. Okay, now that's weird. That's weird. To say, look at this. Tell me when you're ready. I thought it was going to be like something gross. And then she says, you can read it. It's making me laugh. It's from 07. You wrote, I feel protected. You're sweet. Well, hold on. This little bit, let me tell you something. This little girl had a tattoo of man's initials back in 08. Do you know how much before her time that was? Like, you know, the kids nowadays, they be getting face tattoos, you know, neck tattoos. They all put their boyfriend name on them. But that was not the thing a decade ago. Like, that was ghetto. It was knowingly ghetto. Oh, and this is Cassie and Ryan Leslie. Yeah, they're trying to establish that she wasn't groomed and that she had a thing for older men. Poor thing. This is a mess. That girl was out. She didn't have a clue. The fact that she didn't have good sense to know at 19, you don't tattoo no man's initials nowhere on you because you're a beautiful girl and you're going to have 100 boyfriends and you're only at about number 49. She didn't know that. That girl. I want to know more about this stupid text message. I feel protected. You are sweet. You wrote, I see that Carrie is better fitting for you. I'm hurt that you think I'm malicious. You're very important to me. X, Cassie. She laughs. What were you trying to convey? She said, it's like a journal entry. Carrie, I wonder if that's Carrie Washington. Kerry. It says, you wrote, I see that Carrie is better fitting for you. I'm hurt that you think I'm malicious. You're very important to me. What were you trying to convey? It's like a journal entry. Wait a minute. How y'all go from sucking D to this? What type of organization is this? A testimony. What is happening? Says, no offense, I'm so thankful to not have a daughter in this A and age. Yeah. Awesome. Carrie Morgan. Okay, Carrie Morgan. Oh, that was her, her BFF back then. Thank you so much, guys. Oh, Lord, she trying to put her best friend on a man. That's how you know it's over. She said, I'm sorry, Ryan. You're too poor for me. She said, I'm sorry, Ryan. You got to go. But here you go. Here go my homegirl. She's real nice. I've done that before, especially when they're ugly. Carrie Morgan, yeah. Somebody said Carrie Hilson. No, it's not Carrie Hilson. Carrie Morgan makes more sense. It says, but if he taught her, how is it that helped prove that he wasn't grooming her? Ooh, good point. Women, unlike men, understand that it's very much so important to show your daughter as much things as possible with how to deal with men early. Ooh, that is the truth. That is the truth. She said, go ahead. Here go my home girl. I'm out. You poor. It's like a journal entry. For those who want to follow the live stream. Let's see. It says, yes. Somebody says she's got to be mentally retired. Why does she keep laughing? She's probably exhausted. Yeah. All right. So let me see what the Associated Press has. All right. So as we're getting more of those, I'm going to share this tab. It says, the gentle questioning of Cassie may have reached a crescendo when Combs' lawyer begins asking about her early music career and a successful first album. At one point, Diddy's lawyer said, and you're very beautiful and charming. Light laughter could be heard in the courtroom, prompting the lawyer to say, well, it's true. Cassie responded, thanking her. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Estable then asked how many tattoos she had, triggering an objection. Cassie revealed she had 3 when she met Combs, including one on the inside of her forearm that said no regrets. This one forgets the other part. She also had Ryan Leslie's initials. Just so strange. So strange. There we go. Ugh. Let's get to it. Let's see some smoking guns. Let's create a narrative. Let's see what you got. There we go. Basically, so what they're trying to establish so far, and it seems like they're treading well in how they're doing it. They have not been aggressive with Cassie. They've been gentle with her, but they're trying to establish that she is no innocent victim, that she is a strong and opinionated person, that she's not as innocent. Definitely trying to establish she's not as innocent as people have wanted to portray her. They, brought out the fact she had 3 tattoos when she met him, one of which was her boyfriend that she cheated on the boyfriend to get with Diddy with. So it's like, she's not this innocent little flower you guys are making her out to be. She really is. I need to follow up on this message regarding Carrie Morgan, her friend. Is she really trying to put her friend off on this? Now, Ryan, let me shut up. Let me just shut up talking about that man. Okay, let's see. Because we've got somebody, she is the furthest thing from a strong child. Symone, is it illegal to put prescriptions in someone else's name? That was mentioned. They were putting her, oh, yeah. Oh, big time. Especially if they're controlled substances. Because that's how come, like I'm prescribed Adderall. That's how come I have to show ID when I go pick it up, because they got to be able to trace down to the pill what they had given me. Okay. I didn't take my medicine today, so y'all take me as I am. Also, I want to tell everyone while we're waiting, thank you so much for everyone that attended the live Zoom yesterday. There was over 100 people in my Zoom that was on It's Not Too Late for Law School. You can go to my website, SimoneRedwine.com, if you want to sign up for coaching. I'm also going to send out the recorded video, share a link to that for those who want to view it. It says, so tattoos equal you can be abused, the way women are judged on things. Toilet Tisha, you're making a good point. It appears that, no, I think they're going to try and portray her as less than innocent. Diddy had priors before Cassie. He was a seasoned predator when he went after Cassie. Yes, she was 19. Yeah, it says only innocent, perfect, and weak people are allowed to be victims on IG. Explain the grown men that stuck around then. I want to know, I want to talk to the grown men who went and chased her down, bringing her back to him after you saw him hurt her. Let's talk about what part of hell you're going to be sitting in. Tell me what kind of section. Is it the VIP section? Because I think it might be. Let's talk about that part. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, hold on, we got more. All right, here we are. Okay, they did the tattoo section and it says, actually, I'm going to I like to read the text messages first. Uh-oh. Are they being slow? It is being slow. Okay, let's go back over here. So it says, Cassie grew increasingly frustrated with Combs, according to these messages. Yet more messages read in court show Cassie was growing frustrated with the state of their relationship. They weren't yet public with their courtship, and in December of 2009, in an email, Cassie told the Star she needed something more from him than a actual partnership. Responding to an explicit email from Combs, she wrote, I like that. I want it. And I want to give you the same. I just think that I have to trust you beyond it just being actual. Do you know what I mean? The message continued. In order for me to be more open with the things that we do in bed, I need to feel safe, like home. Like this is my husband, and this is the only man that will ever have this aggressive, actual side of me. Combs's lawyers were seeking to portray her as a willing participant. Hold on one second. This is an emergency. Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi there. This is Teresa on PCP. I was calling to speak with Symone.
Yeah, you're calling from where?
From PCP, Professional Civil Process.
Oh, yes. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm live streaming.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I'm sure you know why I'm calling. I was just calling regarding these 2 invoices that are past due in your account.
I don't know about any of those. Email them to me because I paid all the ones that I was told were past due.
Oh, do you know, was that issued in the last few days? Or?
No. Who are these for?
Let me see. McDaniel?
Did you guys actually reach him, or this is when you didn't reach him?
Let's see. It says, yes, canceled, subject unknown.
Yeah, I already paid for those, but go ahead and send it over.
Okay, I don't show that, but if you want to just take a double check it.
Let's see if you could send me an email of what I did pay for, so that way I can just compare what I paid for versus what's outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, great. Okay, sorry about that. That was the court. Got to take their calls. She said, in order for me to be more open with the things we do in bed, I have to feel safe. Like this is my husband, the only side of me. See, that's what he loved about her, that innocence, and the fact that he loves these women where what's crazy to me is he knows he's got 10 million women, but he wants to be the only one for you with that little Tootsie Roll in his pants. How dare you Tootsie Roll me? You've Tootsie Rolled me. You really are. You're going to be running around sharing that little Tootsie Roll stick with everybody and their mama. And then you want me to communicate that I'm only with you. She said, I want it to feel like you're the only man that will ever have this aggressive, actual side of me. Combs' lawyers are seeking to portray her as a willing participant in the FO lifestyle. Here it is. Defense has Cassie reading her messages for the jury. These communications between her and Combs are graphic, describing, for example, what she wanted to do during the FOs. And his lawyer is making her read them out loud, word by lurid word, while the lawyer reads Combs's parts. The judge is allowing these emails, which don't discuss what happened, but rather what she was anticipating or wanting to have happen at the time. After an extensive discussion on what evidence the defense could present, the judge disallowed messages reflecting attempts by Combs to learn whether Cassie was having X with other men that she was dating. So far, these other messages have been within the boundaries set by the judge. Hold on, let me think about this. The judge is not allowing in messages that reflects attempts by Combs to find out whether basically Cassie is air quote cheating on him or being intimate with other men. I guess they probably find that that's irrelevant. Huh. Gross. Probably because maybe they're trying to establish as well that she was cheating on him and that the whole relationship was toxic from both sides. That's perhaps what the defense wants to establish. And it says there was a lighter moment. Cassie laughed as Combs' lawyer showed her an email she sent to Combs near the start of their relationship, almost 18 years ago. It was a message to Combs where she said, momentarily breaking the tension of the cross-examination that so far has required her to read her messages candidly with Combs, where she said, I know. Combs' lawyer responded, we're taking you back. So that message where she said, I think Morgan is a better fit for you, was actually her referring to her homegirl and Diddy. I thought she was trying to give Carrie, her homegirl Carrie, to like, I don't know, his ugly friend, or like Lauren Leslie, because he ain't the cutest. Here we go. Let's pull this back up. All right, here it is. It says, you can see this. You discussed Carrie Morgan. Did you think Mr. Combs was attracted to her? She said, there was a point in the very beginning. Did that complication carry on in your relationship? Not really. Carrie was just always with us. You're right, guys. That was her BFF. His lawyer says, I'd like to start asking about FOs. Sometimes you wore a wig and a mask. She said, yes. I want to tell you, remember my gay boyfriend, he used to do the FOs. And when he told me the story, he referenced wearing masks. Okay. She said, I'd like to start asking about FOs. Sometimes you wore a wig and mask. Yes. The general public did not know. Objection. Rephrase. No one knew until November 2023 in the public. Yes. Here we are. Fair to say that his career was ruined after your lawsuit. Oh, I know she didn't. Diddy's lawyer is saying, fair to say his career was ruined after your lawsuit. She said, I could understand that. Let's read these messages Mr. Combs wrote. He wrote, when are you on your period? She says, no, now. What you be thinking about when you horny? Gross. I'm so grossed out. Miss Ventura, if you don't want to read the answers, I can read them. Thank you. That's actually really nice of her. Because I can imagine, certain things I don't want to have to repeat. I said some ugly things before. One time I told my boyfriend I wish his mama would have swallowed him. I was only like 21 at the time. I did mean it, but I shouldn't have. To this day, he's like, I can't believe you told me that. You really told me my mama should have swallowed me. It's like, well, I hated you. I wanted you to die. It says here, Miss Ventura is saying, the attorney is saying, Miss Ventura, if you don't want to read the answers, I can read them. She says, thank you. She said, the O has lots of O's after them, right? After a FO, you'd make love with Mr. Combs. She says, yes. Because remember, Cassie said the only thing she liked about him or about the FOs is that it was her one time to have private time with him. Him and his Tootsie Roll. So grossed out. Let's see. There we go. Is that the most recent? Yeah, okay, that's the most recent update we've got so far. Ciao. I love this website though. It gives me up to the second. That's what I like. Frustrated with Combs, messages shows. Okay, good. Just nasty. Oh, so many people have asked, how is this man able to live tweet considering you're not allowed to bring electronic devices into the courtroom? Well, here's how. Inner City Press was basically grandfathered in. At some prior point years ago, he submitted and received permission to be able to bring his phone in as press and tweet as he's doing. And they no longer grant that permission to anyone, not CBS, NBC, no one. But he continues to have that permission. So that's why his page, and this is his full-time job. He literally just goes to court hearings and tweets about them like this. Pretty good. And then he writes articles. Dang, I'm getting hungry. It says he's innocent. Somebody said he's innocent. Fair to say, I'm still stuck, but she's like, fair to say his career was ruined after your lawsuit. No, honey, he ruined himself. When that man settled in 24 hours, everyone knew it was true. So this implication that you're putting blame on her, that she brought his career to a halt. No, his abusive tactics caught up with him. It was bound to happen. And it deserves it. He is awesome at it too. He really quick too. I follow him. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he reports on many cases. That was a crazy reach from the defense. Agreed. Agreed. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Adrian. I meant that, but I shouldn't have texted that. What'd you say? I stopped sending texts like that in high school. Nothing. I'm thinking about these. Thalia was big in telenovelas and Latino music. Yep. Tommy never helped her make the crossover after they married. I think Tommy Mottola, okay, we're going back to talking about Tommy Mottola while we're waiting on more texts to come through. Yeah, I'm waiting on more texts. Yeah, so Thalia could have been and should have been a Shakira. Listen, if I'm getting with a fugly like Tony Mottola, you better make sure I have the most comfortable life where I can accomplish all of my goals. I think the problem is they don't want a lot of women. They don't want their women to accomplish anything without them. They want them to just lay up, be pretty, and be in their beck and call. Because I'm sure Tony, you get him how you lose him. Tony had a wife when he got with Mariah, and I'm sure he has many mistresses on Thalia. But Thalia should have been like a Shakira. That's a dual threat. What do they call it? Triple threat. If she was in telenovelas and a Latina music singer, she can probably dance. She could dance. No, and no. No, and no. Yeah, he is fugly. I'm trying not to cuss. Women use men for different things and for them, but when a man does the same thing now, he's taking advantage of it. No, it just depends. I have a friend. He has this wife, and according to him, she used to be very pretty when they got married. She's very ugly on the inside, and to me, she looks like a black Cruella de Vil, but nobody asked me. And he talks all the time about how, he felt like he picked her because she was beautiful and this, that, and the third, but he couldn't see how her but now her they're going through a divorce and her personality is hot garbage. He can see it now, but he couldn't see it before because he was so focused on her beauty. Okay. Ooh, good question. Y'all, I love when y'all put these questions in chat. My question is, if Gina ignores the subpoena, can the prosecution retrieve the Tasha K interview since it's public on YouTube to use as her testimony? All right, I'm going to answer this dual. Not only that, there was some other blogger who was saying that she had actually testified and done a deposition or made a statement, a sworn statement, and that they could likely use that if she doesn't show up for the subpoena. So the answer is no to both. The reason why is because each of those statements are hearsay. Hearsay is an out-of-court statement made to prove the truth of the matter. So you can't use a video if the purpose of the video is to say, hey guys, this is the truth. The reason why is because the law states, the Constitution states, every defendant has the right to confront their accuser. That also means to confront every witness against them. There's no way to confront a video, right? You play the video, she's not there, so you're not able to ask her questions about what she said in the video in order to discredit her. So the answer is no, they couldn't. However, my guess would be if they subpoena her, if they go track her down and they force her to come to trial, she's probably going to pull a Kelsey, like Kelsey, Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez case, where Kelsey took the stand and said, I don't remember, I don't recall, boo-boo the fool, I don't know, all of that business. If she does that on the stand, then yes, and yes. They can use either the Tasha K video or deposition testimony or both, because then they wouldn't be using an out-of-court statement to prove the truth of the matter. They would be using it to show conflicting testimony or conflicting versions of the facts. We call it impeaching the witness. So you could use that. But they got to lie first. They get to get up there and lie. So first you catch them in a lie and you say, that's why it's so dangerous when you watch Dateline or those shows and people go on Dateline and they get the line. And they're like a defendant, because the prosecution can always go subpoena a copy of Dateline's tapes and say, well, this is what you told Dateline. You told him that that he fell in the living room, and the video says he, in the corner found him in the other room, or whatever they say. All right, so here we go. Okay, it says he's now they're talking about their swinger lifestyle. So the lawyer says, did you talk with Mr. Combs about the swinger lifestyle? That no one talks about, Cassie says. Were you keeping FO's secret from your friends? Yes. His assistants help him with everything. You would remember if an assistant came in during one of your sessions with an escort. She said, not necessarily, I was high. So you don't remember much? I had my privacy invaded a lot during that relationship. Hold on. She's trying to establish. So you don't remember much? Again, they're going to use the rugs, the fact that she was on rugs, that she was high, to say, we can't trust your memory. We can't trust your opinion. So she says, this is a good response. I had my privacy invaded a lot during that relationship. She says, you discussed Carrie Morgan. Okay, we got that part. Yeah. No. Okay, come on. Give us some more. There you go. What else we got here? All right. Did you talk? His assistants help him with everything. Okay. That is the latest update from the tweets angle. Okay. I'm gonna see what Carrie Morgan looks like. I'm curious. I don't know if they're still friends. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We're gonna see together, guys. This is who Carrie Morgan is. It says, who is Carrie Morgan? Cassie's friend, name dropped at the trial. Details about Carrie Morgan. Cassie mentioned during her testimony that Carrie Morgan was her close friend at one point. She stated that Diddy threw a wooden hanger at her once, which gave her a concussion. Okay, reporting on the testimony, shared a photo of Cassie and Morgan from when they were younger. Notably, Cassie mentioned the incident in her lawsuit in which she accused him of putting her through years of abuse. Per the legal documents, the incident led to a settlement between Diddy and Morgan. Further, Cassie paid additional money in the hopes of resolving the dispute between her close friend and her abusive boyfriend. The documents also state that the relationship between the two women became strained after that. Let me tell you, you let your boyfriend knock me out. You let your boyfriend knock me out, I'm knocking you out. It's going to be 2 TKOs. Casey spoke about Morgan in another time during the trial. The U.S. attorney asked Cassie, where did you celebrate your birthday in this photo? She said, in Vegas. Carrie Morgan was there too. We were out on his patio on my 21st during the VMAs. The AUSA continued by asking what happened after that. Cassie replied, Sean kissed me in the bathroom. I ran back to my hotel and I told Carrie. Cassie and Diddy met when he was 37 and her 19. Morgan, who's a model, has not given any testimony. I know Morgan said, keep me out of this. Morgan's probably married with kids, minding her business. Hold on, we're going to look at a picture. Where did it go? I want to see the picture. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Let me see the picture. It's about to piss me off. All right, I'm looking for the picture of Carrie Morgan. I hate y'all. I don't care about them. Here, let me try it. That's her? Oh, she don't look like nothing. She look like, look at her. Okay, that's her friend Carrie. Oh, Carrie looked like Tuesdays. Completely forgettable. Completely forgettable. She looks like the all-American white woman. There you go, all-American white woman. Tuesday. When I say somebody looks like Tuesdays, what'd y'all do last Tuesday? Like a week ago Tuesday, what'd y'all do? Nobody knows. You know what you did on Monday was the start of the week. Wednesday was hump day. Thursday was almost the weekend. And Friday, woo, the weekend's here. Saturday and Sunday, you know what you. Tuesday, nobody knows. Tuesday is forgettable. So sometimes if I describe a girl or a guy that looks like Tuesday, I just say, they wholesome. They were there. Can tell you what they look like. Look like Tuesdays. Okay. I can see her getting a lot of modeling gigs because she looks like, most white American men's daughter. You know what you want your daughter to look like. She just looks wholesome. She looked like she'll sue you if you hit her in the head with a wooden hanger too. She looked like she was. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on. No, you got to see this. This is important. Hold on. I'm not going to share too many of these at once. Hold on. This is critical. I apologize. I'm being messy. I need to make sure you can see it as I do. Here we go. Look at this. Oh, see? See what I'm saying? See? She looks like she folds clothes at Abercrombie and Fitch. Y'all, there's 2,000 likes. There you go. Let me see. She did get a settlement. Yeah, she got a settlement from it. And she should have got a settlement. You hit me in the head. Like I said, if you let your boyfriend knock me out, I'm knocking you out. It's going to be 2 TKOs. I'm not going to be the only one on the floor. I'm going to get up, I'm going to recover, and I'm going to hit you with whatever he hit me with. I'm going to hit you. She do look like, don't she look? She look like she'll give it a mean little crease, though. That little T-shirt's going to have a mean little crease. She favors Gwyneth Paltrow. See, she's just like a wholesome all-American girl, too. Look like a Tuesday. Now, I wouldn't recognize her if I saw her again at the grocery store. I wouldn't. I wouldn't been like, hey, there's Morgan. I'd be like, don't that girl work at Abercrombie? Yeah. Hey, misbehave. Yes. So we're waiting on some additional tweets to come through. It says, if this world was based off opinions and feelings versus facts, Diddy should have paid Cassie a long time ago. Yeah, I think so. Byron, I don't know if you were here in the chat previously, but I'm going to play it again while we're waiting for more tweets. I feel like this and stuff like this is why he didn't feel the need to pay her. I'm going to play the clip again. This is him at the VMAs.
Yes, I'm gonna wrap this up, y'all. I'm gonna wrap this up. But if I gotta pay for the commercials, hit me with the bill. I got it. Hey, y'all, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I was in a dark place for a few years, you know what I'm saying? And I have to give a special thank you Shout out, thank you. All that love. I got to give a special thank you to the people that was really like there for me. Bishop T.D. Jakes, my chief of staff, Christina Coram, KK,
That girl about to tell it all. Tell it.
Lorianne Gibson, keeping me free.
Wait. Oh, she about to get to life.
Yeah, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love.
Look, Lorianne Gibson is about to get his butt locked up. Locked up. They won't let him out. Won't let him out. Locked up. Won't let him out. Yes. Oh no, it's about to be bad. It's going to be bad. Let me tell you. When Lorianne takes that stand, oh, I got to call off of work that day. I'm going to be here, which I don't know what I got going on, but when Lorianne takes that stand, he has done her so dirty. We don't even know all the dirt, but I know it's there. He blackballed her. He blacklisted her. She done run back to Canada. She's Canadian. She went back home to Canada. She's like, I don't even want to be bothered. But it was very odd to me. So I'm playing this again because we talked about it earlier. Because many have said, oh, maybe this shout out, this was in June of 2023. And then her settlement was in November. And the thought was maybe this shout out is what triggered her lawsuit. And I'm here to say, no, they were negotiating during the period of this testimony, because Cassie on the stand said that she went to rehab in early 2023. Early is like February-ish, January, February of 2023. And then while in rehab, she wrote the book and then wanted to share it with Sean and was hopeful that he read it. That is what opened the discussions for the settlement negotiations. And I am sure that they went for months and months and months. When are you talking about money like that? It ain't no 1 month thing, honey. So it wouldn't be unusual that the negotiations went from June to November. And then when they stalled, they probably went from June to October. And then when they stalled, her lawyer was like, we're going to let it rip. And strategized and said, all right, we're going to do this November date. I can't remember exactly when, but the date was significant because something was going on. But yeah, Lorianne has seen some things. And here's what Lorianne's going to be able to testify to. Lorianne is going to make it a RICO because Lorianne will be able to bring in the criminal enterprise element. She's going to be able to name other employees, staff members who were doing his dirty work. She's going to be able to name names. She's going to tell story who cleaned up his mess, who did this, that, and the third. Because Lorianne has seen him knock people around and up and through the room. Yes, Diddy and Lori. Yes. Oh, somebody said it. Somebody said it good. Adrian, you got it. She said Diddy and Lorianne used to argue on TV all the time. But can they ask T.D. Jakes what him and Diddy spoke about during this trial? T.D. Jakes probably heard all the oh, yeah. I'll call and be like, what did Diddy tell you? Did he confess to you? They sure can. So here's the thing. What Diddy didn't like about Lorianne is Lorianne was a strong woman. He does not like strong women. And Lorianne would speak up when he was doing things that weren't right. He don't like that. So the way he gets rid of them is he gets rid of women who do things like that. I think Diddy moving on with his life like she was nothing after she went through all that nasty life with him. It's just really odd to me that he shouts her out like at that random time, at the awards. Then I would not be surprised if Lorianne herself had a claim against him. Because she probably had one and it probably just settled. It probably absolutely settled. Because remember, guys, we only hear about the ones, we only hear about the cases that don't get settled. Remember, like with Shannon Sharpe? Shannon Sharpe's whole goal was, let me give this girl this $10 million so that these accusations never see the light of day. And therefore, if he's already paid Lorianne, that's why we haven't seen it. And Lorianne's still going to be able to get up on that stand and testify. Yes, she is going to testify. She is testifying. And she is going to, I want her soon. I hope we get her next week. I hope we get her next week. The date was near the anniversary. Yes, Jessica. The date was near the anniversary of Kim's death when the lawsuit was actually filed. I want to say it was the day of or the next day or Kim's birthday. It was something like that. Why was everyone in the media saying he was settled in 24 hours? Because they're stupid. So these idiots really think that a lawsuit and those claims just start the day that they're filed in the courthouse. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. That's why some of you guys like watching bloggers that actually went to law school. What happens is before you ever file, let me actually explain this. I'm going to stop being sassy. I'm not going to talk demeaning, because if you're not a lawyer, I can totally understand why you would just go by this is the date it was filed. This is the date it was settled. But how it works is this. Under the law, when you take a case contingency fee, which is how this case was taken, we take it on a percentage. In our contracts, they say something very specific. It says we get this percent. It's usually 33 1/3 if we settle the case for you without filing suit. And then if we file suit, it goes up to 40%. So therefore, we have an ethical obligation to you, our client, to make an effort to try and settle this without going to court. In fact, if your lawyer on a contingency case just goes straight to filing a lawsuit without making any efforts to mediate it or settle it or do anything where they could get it resolved at the 33 1/3 point, you could have a bar complaint against them because it's a breach of our fiduciary duty. And lawyers would just go ahead and, okay, I'm just going to file a lawsuit because I'll get paid 7% more. That's a big percentage. When you're talking $20 million, when you're talking $20 million, okay, that was $20 million. Her lawyer got 40% of that. So I say that to say, no, what it starts with is we send over a demand letter. What that demand letter does is it literally summarizes all of the facts that were in the lawsuit petition, and it attaches exhibits. And we say, we want to settle with you. We're willing to settle for this amount of dollars. And you have until this day to get back to me. I'm actually a personal injury attorney. So if you're ever injured anywhere nationally in America, you can contact me and I take those cases. But you have to be seriously injured. Like I make people millionaires, for real. So we do that. We send the letter. Then they write back usually. And sometimes I've had them write back and be like, okay. Because the facts, I line them up and it's like, boom, boom, boom. I had one where it was an 18-wheeler accident and the cops tried to say it was my client's fault because my client's lights weren't on when they were hit and a whole bunch of things. I lined it up and I had my expert report where the expert mechanic looked at that 18-wheeler and said it was missing like 8 brakes, and if it had the brakes, it would not have killed my client and dragged him to his death. And I said, oh, and by the way, by we handling this, we can handle it civilly. There will be no criminal ramifications because that arguably was vehicular manslaughter. We didn't go there. I just got my million. But we send the letter. Most of the time they'll say no, or they'll write back and say, let's mediate this. So I don't know whether or not they did mediation, but they probably just went back and forth, weren't getting the numbers, or Diddy wasn't taking her seriously. You can tell by what he said there. He thought he could schmooze her. He could give her that, Miss Cassie. Remember, at the time, he was actively dating Young Miami. And we were all looking like, how are you going to thank Cassie and not Miami? And Miami is here with the, hey, Poppy, poster board. What in the world? I don't know. Anyway, okay. So I says, hold on, I'm going to answer. Didn't Mike Bivens hold Lorianne down while Diddy bit her? I don't know. I didn't hear that story now. Somebody else in the chat, let me know if you heard that as well. It says, do I think they paid the lawyer's fees, or did she only walk away with 12 million? No, they didn't pay the lawyer's fees. She probably got 12 million. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Attorney gets 40%. And for those people who say it's too much, all right. That's fine. We take all the risk. And it takes years and years to get there. Like Little Rod's lawyer, what is it, Tyrone Blackburn? He's held all the risk. He's probably never going to get paid. And so the reason that we charge high percentages, you can always hire someone hourly if you've got the money. Go ahead, you can pay me $1,000 an hour. But if that were the case, victims would never get relief, because generally when you're a victim, you lose, you miss work, you're injured, you don't have $1,000 an hour to hire a lawyer. But not only the ones who settled will testify, they will get to keep their money. That's right. On the anniversary of Kim's death is when they filed. All right, let's get some updates on this. The tweeties. Yep, I know a lot of people are like, 40%, that's so much. But if you think about it, y'all got $1,000 an hour? I'll wait. Gloria Allred is $2,500 an hour. So you tell me which of Diddy's victims have $2,500 an hour for justice. I'll wait. So I get you. It does sound like a lot, but it's because the lawyers take all the risk. Because if they lose that money. I've seen lawyers lose hundreds of thousands of dollars on cases because they didn't get paid. All right, here we are. Right, this little tweet. Okay, wait. It's still nothing new. I'm surprised. Okay, here we go. All right, his attorney. This one is, okay, his attorney is saying here. Actually, let me do it this way. This is from July 2012. It says, you say to Mr. Combs, I'm horny and bored. This was after a FO, right? There are a lot of texts here. She said 25 pages. Where will the defense exhibits ostensibly entered? Then the exhibits were entered in evidence. So basically, Cassie is saying, like, where are you getting at? There's 25 pages here. Like, what are you talking about? And the government said, I would ask that the witness be allowed to read the entire document. How many pages? 8. We don't have a copy for the witness. We'll show it on the screen, but not in the public gallery. God damn it, put it on the damn screen. Put it on the screen. Jesus, y'all are annoying. I hope they don't do this for all the witnesses. Maybe they're just being more tender with her, because honestly, without Cassie's civil complaint, we would not have the criminal complaint that it was soon. So I think that speaks to the fact that Cassie was very naive and unprepared for the world at 19, but boy, she got it together now. Talk about, hey, it ain't where you start, it's where you finish. And she's about to save a whole lot of lives from her bravery today. Here we go. Share this tab. Yep. It says, I would ask that the witness, they're trying to figure out, she says, I'm horny and bored. This was after a freak off, right? Then they can't figure out where it is. There's an 8-page document of text messages. And so she's trying to go through them to figure out, what they're talking about here. Oh, I'm horny. Somebody said, lawyered up said, she said, I'm horny and tired. Wouldn't you be tired? In fairness, I don't know how long it was after the freak off, but I ain't doing all that. And here, y'all, ladies in the chat, this girl is going for 4 days, and here we are complaining that we got to do it in the morning and at the nighttime. I'm going to look at myself real different. That girl's got some stamina, boy. Well, there's probably some ecstasy in her bloodstream as well, so there is that. Yeah. There's YouTube commentary of Mike Bivens and Diddy jumping Lorianne. Okay, while we're waiting for more texts, I need to find that. Yes, let's keep her safe. It's crazy how men like to taking accountability. Okay, wait. I'm still trying to see this situation about Mike Bivens. Hold on. How are all Diddy's attorneys getting paid? By him. That man, one of his houses, he paid off the mortgage. So he probably got a loan against one of the $50 million homes. And because one of my friends that's a federal defense attorney said that the legal team is easily $3 million a month. Oh, wow. This is random. I controlled and pissed away Tina's money. She was defeated and tired of fighting after staying for decades. There was nothing noble about it. He called her a liar for years. I believe it. When I had different lawyer, I had to pay $5,000 for the retainer. Did you have a, well, first you're in Canada, so it might be a different system, but was it a contingency fee lawyer? If you have a contingency fee lawyer and they're asking you to pay a retainer, there's a problem. That's the exact opposite. Retainers are for hourly attorneys here in America, but I'd love to hear your answer. Because he was spending money on Young Miami and not paying all the people demanding settlement. That is true. Ooh, it says, I have a weird feeling the defense is going to call Carrie to the stand. Carrie, who looks like Tuesdays. Because why bring her up so much on cross? It seems like an unnecessary detail otherwise. So here's the challenge. You only want to bring, they're not going to call her, because then they're going to establish, the prosecution on cross is going to establish that Diddy beat her in the head with a hanger. And they don't want to risk that. Otherwise, they might. We're going to see Mike Bivens. Hold on. Did Mike Bivens and Diddy beat Lori Ann? I don't know how to spell her name. Oh, we got a video. I need a clip. Oh. All right, hold on. Let me just make sure I haven't missed any tweets. I want to make sure we're all caught up. Oh yeah, because they're going through these tweets and such. Hold on. Okay, so let's update this. We got more tweets here. Okay. So with these tweets here, gosh, get off my thing. It says, the lawyer said, you said Mr. Combs often put you down, but he also sent you encouragement and called you a queen, right? Okay. Literally, defense, you sound so stupid right now. You sound so stupid. Okay, then Ventura says yes. Then there's a sidebar. Defense attorney says, what would trigger Mr. Combs' incessant calls to you? She said, anger, doubt about where I was. If he suspected you of cheating, would he call you incessantly? That was one of the reasons. Because he thought, objection, judge, that's sustained. Girl, to say, you said he put you down a lot. Oh, but he also gave you encouragement and called you a queen. All abusers do that. They got to be nice sometimes or else you're going to flee. They got to do just enough where it makes you want to stick around to get back to the good times, to get back to that dopamine, to make you think, oh, he's going to change. Oh, it was just this one time, or, oh, maybe I deserved it because I did X, Y, or Z. No. Hold on, but I found us some good mess. I think I found us some good hot mess, y'all. Oh, it says Lori. Hold on. Hold on. I think I found us some good hot mess. The title of this TikTok says, the time Lori Ann Gibson took on Diddy and Michael Bivens in a chair by herself. Make sure y'all can see it. We got some good hot mess. Here we go.
While we're waiting forward with accusations against Diddy while filming Making the Band. Lori Ann Gibson was one of the first women to come forward with accusations against Diddy while filming Making the Band. Lori Ann Gibson filed a complaint with the NYPD on May 11, 2007 and alleges that Diddy and Michael Bivens yelled and cursed at her. During the exchange, Lori Ann was heard telling Diddy, "You don't scare me." As the incident escalated, New Edition member Michael Bivens grabbed her while Diddy picked up the chair and threatened to lay her out. Although a large portion of the incident was caught on camera and shown during an episode of Making the Band, Diddy demanded the cameramen cut off the cameras as things escalated. Diddy's lawyer, Benjamin Brafman, responded to Lorianne Gibson's complaint denying all claims, and eventually the investigation was closed due to lack of evidence. Lorianne Gibson, however, never changed her story.
Y'all, it's true. Oh my God, I love the members of the jury, y'all. I call y'all jurors. I call y'all members of the jury. My mouth is open. My mouth is open. Oh my God, so he really did take a chair to her. They really did jump her. Y'all, that testimony is, you sure did. Sure did, Sugar Crisp. Sugar Crisp told us. I'm glad you did. See, thank y'all for being messy with me. I don't like being messy alone. It's lonely. It's lonely. Come on in here and be messy with me. See, these are the kind of little sidebars we need while we're waiting for more tweets to load. Yeah, somebody was told. Lawrence Blair says, I remember this, and Lorianne worked with and hung out with Diddy after this. She was on a video in 2018 with Diddy in Mexico. Yeah, but she'd been waiting to tell her story. Gosh, that has to say, there wasn't enough evidence. Honey, go get the clips. But see, Diddy probably made them destroy the footage. But you think, and then I could see how everybody working on that show, nobody would want to say yes, because then they'd never work in this town again. Surviving the diddler. Yeah, to say that you think they would come harder than this. Here's the problem. They can't come our version of hard of what we would expect right now, because she's 8 months pregnant. They got to start soft. So it's better to use like very calm voice intonation and be pretty calm about it, so that your delivery can't feel aggressive, but you can still corner her into truths that paint the narrative that you want. So it feels like the attorneys have been coached on triggering her by Diddy. Ooh, that could be. Ooh, Lorianne, she gonna get that man. She gonna tear that boy's butt up. I think it was, what does it say? I think it was Kim's passing. She was out. Yeah, what's 5150? Who's talking about 5150? 5150 is a hold when somebody's crazy. Hold on. Who's talking about that? Lorianne is 5150. That's crazy. So a 5150 hold is like if one of your relatives is bonkers out of their mind. It's when you get them committed against their will. It's usually for 72 hours. I have a homegirl. She always gets held like that. She's always doing stuff. All right, so let's see. Do we got a refresh here? I love that. Let's see. We got a little refresher. Okay, here we are. Update. Do you believe that Mr. Combs has good taste? I think he does. He's had an impact on fashion. People like his style. Sean John. Did you consult with him on your look? Sometimes I got advice I didn't ask for. He still ran his companies even while having all these FOs, right? He did. What was he addicted to? Success. She laughs. What substances? Opiates? Yes, he told me and I saw it. Okay, so they both were on them opiates. She said he was addicted to success. Oh, bless her little heart. Bless it. Let's see what other updates we've got here. It's 15 minutes ago. Okay, let's share this tab. Now it's saying defense lawyers made it clear before trial they intended to label a lot of Combs' behavior as reflective of a swinger's lifestyle. Now, Estavio is asked Cassie directly if she thinks FOs were related to this lifestyle. In a sexual way, Cassie responded before adding, they're very different. A day earlier, Cassie told prosecutors they went to swingers clubs together, several times in LA and Vegas. Cassie powers through explicit narration. At one point, acknowledging her potential discomfort, Estavio tells Cassie, "If you ever don't want to read messages, I can read them for you." She thanked the lawyer for the offer, but kept going. 3 times the courtroom fell quiet as Cassie spent several minutes silently reading through paper copies of long text message exchanges between her and Combs. One exchange was 14 pages. Another was 25 pages. A third exchange was 8 pages. Cassie wanted to familiarize herself with these threads before being asked questions about it. Good for her. That's a well-prepped witness. Let me tell you about this. Cassie says she sometimes watched Combs having S with other women. Oh, hell no, girl. I won't even say you're better than me. You're different than me, because I wouldn't. I don't know if that's better. No. That's how people get hit in the head with pots and pans. It says, while prosecutors have focused on Combs' desire to see Cassie with other men in marathons of activities, she says she sometimes watched him be with other women, him and that Tootsie Roll. Under questioning by Combs' lawyer, Cassie testified that this happened maybe 4 times throughout the course of their decade-long relationship. She said Combs explained it as part of their lifestyle. I'm so disgusted. As Estavo and Cassie read aloud steamy text messages that the hip-hop mogul and her wrote each other in July of 12, Combs appears relaxed at the defense table, sitting back in his chair with his hands folded before him and his legs crossed. Keep in mind, this man has his daughters in the courtroom. He has his daughters in the courtroom reading this nasty stuff with him. I find that disgusting. If there's a day when they don't need to be there, when you can tell them to go on home, it should be the days when they're reading exchanges of and discussing daddy's S life. That is disgusting. You are gross. Here we are. Cassie says, I definitely didn't want anyone to know. Oh, yeah. After going through a pile of years-old emails and text messages, defense questioning pivoted to the highly orchestrated encounters in which she says Combs watched as she engaged in S with other workers. Early on, she testifies she disguised herself with wigs and masks because while Combs was a recognizable star, she was an up-and-coming R&B singer, and neither of them wanted people finding out. The encounter itself was pretty crazy. I really followed his lead on that because I had never done it before. Look, if you've got to put on a costume to do the freaky stuff, it's probably freaky stuff you shouldn't be doing. If you got to dress up like a ninja to get your wiener licked, you probably don't need to be doing it in this environment. Stop being weird. Stop being weird. You're doing weird stuff. Just cut it out. It's all strange. That should tell you everything you need to know about this man. Yeah, I don't believe that. I think sometimes they do, and I don't believe that. The fact is, they shouldn't even be there. They shouldn't even be there. Like, oh, okay, like everything she's going to talk about is explicit. The girls were there this morning. There's nothing that won't be explicit that will be discussed. Everything discussed today, today's cross-examination, everything discussed today will be explicit. So there is literally, I can't think of any reason for them to be here today. But y'all tell me, what do you think? Would you want your daughters there as moral support for you? Who knows what those girls have been exposed to? I don't like their interaction with their brother. It could be a normal, but maybe not. Maybe Cassie watched Diddy and other women and him being together because she didn't have, yeah, I'm pretty sure. She didn't have a choice in any of that. He ran that show. That's how I feel. They should even be in court. No. They did not get out of the van with the boys. Well, the Associated Press says that they're there. I'm going to go with the Associated Press. They specifically said that the family, including the daughters, were there. Diddy's like, sorry, Ken folks, sometimes daddy gets get out of here. But the younger one, the untalented one, he's a cornball just like his daddy. He is a cornball just like his daddy and has no skills. See, that's the thing. Now Quincy's gonna be okay. But that little idiot Christian hopping around, talentless. Somebody should have put him in somebody's school. They should have put him in Sullivan Learning Center or something like that. Where he might not be good at school. He looks slow. And if that's the case, take that slow baby and get him a trade or something. Maybe have him make videos or produce music. But Christian, he's going to be screwed if his daddy goes to jail because Christian can't take care of himself. Christian will literally be a trust fund baby, but not even be able to take care of himself. Whatever money is there, that's all the money is going to be. Because Christian is what he's not about to do is get a job. And then he goes out, he gets these real big old booty girls, influencer type girls. And then, he showers them with money to make them want to deal with his corny behind. Yes, he is busy trying to be more like his dad. We need more plumbers. Yes. Christian. Yes. Join the local 782 union, the plumbing union. Join that local 782. We sure do. You can't AI the toilet bowl. Help us out. Justin. Oh, Justin's probably useless too. I forgot about that one. I be forgetting about Justin. Well, Justin at least went to college. And my understanding, I don't know if he graduated. Hold on, let me see. He went to UCLA. Did Justin Combs graduate? I wonder how Justin Combs felt about Diddy adopting Quincy. He did. He graduated from UCLA. Oh no. With a bachelor's degree in sociology. No, he's not going to make no money. No. He has a bachelor's degree in sociology. That's not going to work. So most people get sociology degrees. They become therapists and things like that. Ain't nobody going to him for no therapy. No. I wonder why he even picked that. Who? Boy, maybe the classes itself were interesting. No, I have friends that are therapists that study sociology. No. Get away from. Oh, yeah. I would not want my daughters in court when those horrific events are talked about. He should have told his sons to tell their sisters not to go to court. Yeah. Oh, but not only that, but Diddy was sat there in court and did like this. Thank you. And now, thank you. Get out of here, little weirdo. Yeah, Quincy's going to take care of those girls. And Quincy got a job. Quincy's going to act. He's gorgeous. He can be a model. Quincy be really good on one of those escrow perm kits. He looked just like the men on there. I don't even know if he has one. That's irrelevant. They use false advertising all the time. All right, let's see if we got some more tweets back in. Okay. Here we are. Tweet. It says, did Mr. Combs' mood depend on whether or not he was withdrawing from opiates? He was more irritable, I would say. What other drugs was Mr. Combs addicted to? Objection, no foundation, Judge. I'll ask if I want the grounds. Judge, sustained, rephrase. What was his drug of choice? She said MDMA or X. Opiates daily when he was doing them. You saw him withdraw? Yes. Y'all, remember, when the feds arrested him in his hotel room, he had rugs all up in there. So that means when he went to that prison, he was, what do they call it? Withdrawing. He had to withdraw from prison. There's no worse place to have to do that. None. Okay. So you saw him withdraw. Yes. Do you believe Mr. Combs has good taste? We did that one. And his impact on fashion. So I wonder if the defense is trying to establish here that almost paint him as a sympathetic victim given that he too had an addiction. I ain't. They're about to go on lunch soon, so we've got to. I think they're going to close out this section, and he's going to go to lunch because he told me. Addicted to success and opiates, and the ex. I mean, he looked like he had been going through something. He definitely looked that part. Here we go. Let's see. Here we are. All right. Here we are. Yep. Ooh. Oh, okay. It says the judge just said, will break. Jurors leave. The judge says, Miss Estavio, where are we in your cross? She says, we have a lot of exhibits. Let me confer over lunch. Judge says, non-responsive. Will you finish today or early tomorrow? She said, to the end of tomorrow. Child, we got a lot more juice they going through. Oh, don't let this lady go into labor. Don't let her go into labor. Will you finish today or early tomorrow? Agnifilio says the end of tomorrow. The end of tomorrow. So we got a lot that's going on. Child. Because he played football and needed an oh, right. Yeah, that's needed an easy major. I know I'll be sure is somewhere on his knees praying Jesus. Who said the child with the ICDC? Now that's probably where Christian would go. That's probably his intellect. Who said, especially after this, who the hell wants Diddy's son as a therapist? He needs therapy. That's right. Wolf and Kim turning over in their graves. Quincy was not correct. He was never legally adopted. He couldn't be. Albie sure would have to approve of that. And Albie was never, ever going to do that. Good reminder, when Justin Combs was at UCLA, he played football, and Diddy beat the coach with a metal weight, and then he was no longer on the team. And nothing happened to him for doing that. How does that happen? How do you get to beat up a coach and hit him in the head with the weight and nothing happened? Oh, because he probably gave him a bunch of money. Yeah. Who could have gone to Harvard? And Diddy stopped it. Which one? I'm going to guess that was Justin, perhaps. I wonder why Diddy would have stopped that. I literally had to close my office door. I was screaming. It's wild over here. Yeah, he's hopping around talentless. That little boy, Christian, we talking about Christian Combs. Christian Combs, he has no, let me see if I get us a good video we can watch real quick with no sound on it. Of talentless, let me just do, we're going to share this tab. Talentless Christian Combs. Let's just see. I'm just curious what comes up. Any videos? No, he looks crazy. Oh, that's right. He was served with the lawsuit. I want a video of him attempting to perform. 50 Cent clowns him, says he's worse than his dad. I believe that. These videos are too long. Academics plays a diss track from King Combs. Who on earth is he trying to diss? You've got to be kidding me. Yeah, no, I don't see any. No, he's pretty talentless. No. Gotta get out of theirs. No, he really was. All right, so let's see. She said, let the kids be. We just gonna pray for him. They're gonna have to get a job. Ooh, I got a super chat. Thank you so much, Brittany, for the super chat. No, absolutely. But no one is really digging in to Puffy. Oh, I agree. It says no one is really digging into Sean Puffy and his mother's real life before he became famous. I think the gay stuff started with abuse at the private all-boy high school he attended. It could have. Remember, Justin was on the football team and Diddy got him thrown off. That had to be, imagine how pissed you'd be if your father got you put off the football team because he hit your coach in the head with a metal weight. Oh my gosh. I'd be livid. I would be livid. Like, Dad, because if anything, you're used to rich parents paying money to get their kids onto a team, not cutting up so bad they get them put off. Yeah. So what do you guys think of the testimony so far today? See, I think part of the challenge is that for the accusations that are pending, they are ones where you have to lay predicates. You have to kind of set the scene, get people to think of him as a violent, vicious, very powerful person. Then when you go into the additional, more clear-cut examples, so for me, the more clear-cut examples are going to be the arson, the dangling a girl over the counter, things like that. When those things happen, then, not happen, but when those are discussed, it becomes much more obvious as to, okay, this fits coercion, this fits the violence, the obstruction of justice, those things. Okay, great question. What do I think about the jury not being sequestered? Federal court is so gosh darn weird. If this were a state court case, they would absolutely be sequestered. I think that the feds are one, they can be cheap. They can be cheap. But also with a federal case, so with state court cases, every member of the jury lives in that county. So it's a lot easier to get them all together if you wanted to. Versus with federal court, it's usually like 6 different counties that are comprised. So like here, it's the Bronx, it's Manhattan, it's Westchester, it's Richland County, and some other areas. So I think one, because people are from such different areas, it's also just very, very rare in federal cases that jurors are sequestered. Actually, let me see if they were sequestered in the Jeffrey Epstein case. I don't believe so. Hold on. Were the jurors sequestered? I don't think so. Let's see. Yeah, no, they were not. They were not sequestered in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial or Jeffrey. Looks like or Jeffrey. Let me see. Nope, they were not sequestered. It says no reason for sequestration. The judge emphasized the importance of jury trials in a democratic society and decided against sequestering the jurors while still taking measures to safeguard their privacy. Although it involves a sensitive subject matter related to the crimes, the jurors were not sequestered. Their privacy was protected. So sometimes sequestration is also for the protection of jurors. And I think also part of the reason they don't like to sequester, especially in federal court, is because it's a lot harder to get jurors to serve. Think about all the parents. They generally let people go home at 4:00 every day because people got things to do. They got to go get their kids. If you're sequestered, it's going to dramatically reduce Diddy's ability to have a jury of his peers because it ain't going to be no parents on. It ain't going to be no single parents on there. That's for darn tootin'. Single parents. And they don't pay you enough for babysitters and stuff like that. Plus, these people aren't getting, hit that like button, please, guys. They're not getting a chance to go to work each day. So that's the one time that people have to access their devices and catch up on things. Because a lot of times when you're sequestered, they also take your devices. It doesn't make sense to sequester someone, but keep them with the phone that they could use to read the news and see things that could be an issue. So I believe that's largely the main part. So they're really just having to rely on the honor system. So, yep. So, okay. I appreciate you guys hanging with me this morning. I got to get a little bit of work done. I'm not sure if I'm going to come back this afternoon, but yeah, I'll definitely be back tomorrow for sure if I'm not this afternoon, because I have at 5:30 I have another live that I'm doing breaking down a new defamation lawsuit that was filed against Melody Holt from Love and Marriage Huntsville. I don't know how many seasons they got left of that show, but whoo, them people. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. It's your legal bestie, Attorney Symone.